Do you often read the same paragraph 3 times and you still have no idea what you read? Are you a certified hobby hopper? You jump in with both feet but don't stay long enough to get your money's worth out of all the supplies and equipment you bought when you were first excited about it, just like the last 14 hobbies? Can you lose yourself in hours of researching some new idea or playing a video game only to look up and realize it's 2 a.m. and you have to be up in 4 hours? These are all part of your executive function, specifically focus and consistency. Get ready to learn about your brain.
Welcome to Motherhood in ADHD. I'm your friend, Patricia Sung. My mission is to be a lighthouse for mothers with ADHD, helping you find your path to success by learning to appreciate your ADHD as an asset. I'm seeking to change the paradigm that ADHD means your life is doomed to be a hot mess. So I'm sharing strategies and encouraging you in your pursuit of happiness to love who you are every day of your ADHD life.
Hey, Successful Mama, it's your friend Patricia Sung. We are talking about executive function, the CEO of your brain. I can't explain ADHD without discussing executive function. If you're not familiar with executive function, you can listen to the first episode in the series, which is number 53, for an overview. And we're covering a variety of executive functions in this series, and today we're specifically talking about focus and consistency. Now, the dictionary definition of focus is directed attention. The definition of consistent is marked by harmony, regularity, or steady continuity, free from variation or contradiction. Well, isn't that just the opposite of what we are? We are the kings and queens of variation and contradiction, all over the place and never the same. We struggle to do the same thing the same way over and over again, to keep our mind in one place for a long time, unless it's really interesting, and then we can hyper-focus and be stuck there forever. This is one of the reasons I hate that they named it attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, because we don't have an attention deficit. We have too much attention, which is hyperfocus, or we have a struggle keeping on task because everything is catching our attention. It's like too much attention disorder. Why can't they call it that? How does this show up in an adult with ADHD? Well, on one half of the coin, there's lack of focus. We struggle to stick with a plan or disciplining our kids. We forget what we told them the consequence was going to be. Keeping our attention on a conversation or telling a story that doesn't have 14 rabbit holes. Constantly starting projects that never get finished because we're already on to the next thing, trying that hobby, and then that hobby, and then that hobby, and never spending enough time to get really good at something, and then we find the next cool thing to try. Sometimes we have selective hearing. And on the other side, there's hyperfocus, where we get so into something that we obsessively research for hours and can hit this black hole time suck where we spend all our time trying to learn about this new thing. Or we obsessively research about something and then don't actually do anything with what we found. We'd start talking in circles, repeating ourselves because we're getting stuck on a certain point. Some of us are pickers at skin or pulling out hair. We get songs stuck in our head for months, and we get sucked into things that just aren't important. And people can interpret this as being wishy-washy, we don't care, we're lazy, or on the flip side that we're weird or kooky or too intense. But having an ADHD brain does have its positives. We are generally spontaneous and fun. I can't hold a grudge because I'm not going to remember why I was mad at you. And on the hyperfocus side, I am persistent and committed. When I know why I'm fighting for something, I will power through and have serious grit to get to the goal that I want. When we're passionate about something, it's not as hard to stick with it because we're using it for something good. Like if we're really passionate about human rights, we will stick to it and fight for the people who need our help. So where have I seen this recently in my life? On the lack of focus side, finishing projects is always a problem for me. I'm the queen of starting something really cool and getting like 90% there and just never quite wrapping it up. Right now, I got Christmas bows floating around my house. They just kind of get shuffled from one space to the next. And they're still not done, and here it is, well into back to school season, and I still don't have these Christmas bows finished. I told myself I was going to redo the bows on the wreaths outside that hang on my gate. They got just over time beat down by the sun and whatever creatures, bugs are nibbling at them in the attic all year long. So this year I took the bows off the wreaths and I said, I'm going to fix the bows and then put them back on the wreaths. Well, whole Christmas season came, my beautiful sparkly red ribbons still sitting out, and they got shuffled over towards my bedroom door. They got shuffled over to the dining room again on the table, and I still haven't done the Christmas bows. Maybe by the time I air this episode, I'll have done the Christmas bows. Or maybe I just need to put the Christmas bows away. That might be a better solution. I really have to focus on my why. That is my motivation to do stuff. And one of the ways that I hyper-focus is this podcast. I'm pretty surprised that I made it this far. I'm surprised I didn't hobby hop onto something else. But because my motivation to help you mamas is so strong and it's so important to me, I have stuck with it. And it's not hard to feel motivated to get this done. It's still a lot of work and research and figuring out how I'm going to juggle pandemic, kids, life, work, and podcast, but I enjoy it. And so it's not hard to stick with it. So what are my hacks, tips, and tricks to combat a struggle to stay on top of things or pull myself out when I'm getting sucked into things that aren't important? One always is awareness. Knowing where this is repetitively hard for you, being aware of that will allow you to make changes and you'll catch yourself when you're getting sucked in where you don't want to be. Next is determining a clear why. If you want to go back to school, why? Why do you want to go back to school? Why is that so important for you? It's not just about getting letters on a piece of paper. Usually for us with ADHD, we have that motivating factor of doing it for our family or doing it because I am passionate about this subject. There's got to be a why. It can't just be I think I'm supposed to go to school. That's not going to get us there. That's not going to push us through years of classes. Drill down to your why. Keep asking yourself, why is that important to me? Why is that important to me? Until you get down to the crux of the matter of why this matters to you. And you'll be able to stick with things that are hard. I also ask for help. When I know I need to make a different choice and not get sucked into watching a show late at night, I have to ask for help and tell my husband, hey, I can't stay up watching shows tonight. I've got to go to bed. I'm too tired. It doesn't always work, but it helps sometimes. Speaking of my husband, a body double is a great way to get things done. Having that accountability with somebody else just makes it easier to get it done because seeing that other person is a visual reminder of getting things done. I've been wanting to try FocusMate, which is basically a connection site for people who want to get things done. It's like online accountability partners. So I have that on my list next time I need to sit down and really work on something quiet. I'm going to try that. Now, in terms of getting off track, some of the things that I do to help from getting distracted is I have very few notifications on my phone. I've turned most of them off. It's only the truly important things that I need to respond to, which are text messages. I have a special ring for my husband and the settings on it where if I put my phone on Do Not Disturb when I'm trying to concentrate, only the starred people will come through. With everyone else, it just goes straight to voicemail. I also have alarms on my phone all the time to keep me aware of the time. I just don't have that passing of time ability in my brain. So I have alarms throughout the day in the times where I know that I need to do something and I can't miss the alarm. So things like when I need to take my son to swim lessons or when I need to be at a doctor's appointment, I have an alarm go off that says, hey, get ready for this. You need to leave soon. I have an alarm in the evening for quit doing whatever you're doing. It's time to get ready for bed. And then I have a hard stop alarm where I have to stop whatever I'm doing and go to sleep. And then there's another alarm 2 minutes later. That's the no, really, you have to stop alarm so that I quit goofing around and get my rear into bed. My last thing is routines. I know that for most people with ADHD, the word routine sounds like scooping your eyeballs out with forks, but I promise routines are amazing. They help me stay on top of the boring things that I don't want to do because I don't want to waste effort of my day trying to figure out and convince myself that I should be doing things that I don't like doing. It's too much work. I hate laundry. I really wish my kids could just magically be clean and clothed because I hate washing clothes and folding them and putting them away. But here's the thing, they keep getting dressed every day. So I got to keep washing clothes. So I have a system in place that keeps me on top of the laundry and I don't ever end up with Mount Laundry more because I've stayed on top of it throughout the week. Same thing with meal planning. I don't like meal planning. It's not my favorite. But kids got to eat all the time. So I have figured out a schedule of when I order my groceries, when I plan out my meals so that I can stay on top of those things. I don't enjoy doing them still, but because I have a system in place, it still gets done. And I don't have to waste my brain power on it. So we are learning about executive functions, the full spectrum of how they affect our brains and how we can balance out those places where it's a struggle for us and we want to make some improvement. Because knowledge is power, and the more you know about how your brain works, the better you can use your strengths to your advantage and support the areas of weakness that you gotta work with. We can't change who we are, nor do I want to, but I can find ways to make my life easier and my motherhood more successful. And I want to help you do the same. I will talk to you soon, successful mama.
Thank you for listening to Motherhood and ADHD. For more resources, head over to our website, www.motherhoodandadhd.com.